Welcome back to Dental Notes and Mnemonics. Today we are going to discuss about the liver function test. In the next few minutes, we'll decode LFT in the simplest way possible using just 4 core principles. Liver function test or LFTs are based on 4 key principles. The first is cell injury, which tells us if the cells are damaged. Second is cholestasis, meaning there is a blockage in the flow of bile. Third is excretory function, that how well the liver removes substances like bilirubin. And fourth is synthetic function of the liver, which shows how well the liver is producing essential proteins like albumin and the clotting factors. So when we interpret liver function test, we don't look at the numbers randomly. We follow a structured stepwise pattern based on these 4 main principles. We start with ALT and AST, which are the key enzymes used to detect liver injury. ALT stands for alanine aminotransferase. It is more specific to liver, so when ALT is elevated, it strongly suggests hepatocellular or liver injury. AST stands for aspartate aminotransferase. AST is less specific because it is also found in muscles, heart, and red blood cells. So AST can rise in non-liver conditions too. In case of severe injury or alcohol-related diseases, AST rises more because it is also present in mitochondria, and mitochondrial damage increases AST release. The step 3, where we compare the ratios of AST and ALT. If ALT is more than AST, it suggests it is viral hepatitis, drug-induced liver injury, or ischemic injury. But if the ratio is more than 2, it strongly suggests an alcohol-related liver disease. After ALT and AST, we will check the values for alkaline phosphatase and GGT. If ALP is disproportionately elevated, it suggests a cholestatic pattern, meaning there is reduced or blocked bile flow. But alkaline phosphatase alone is not enough because it can rise from the bone as well. So to confirm the hepatic origin of cholestasis, we use the values of GGT, which means gamma glutamyl transferase. If GGT is also elevated, it confirms the hepatic origin of alkaline phosphatase rise. That means the cholestasis is due to liver or bile duct problem. If GGT is normal, ALP is likely from non-hepatic sources, most commonly bone diseases like fractures, osteomalacia, or Paget's disease. Once the hepatic cholestasis is confirmed, the next step should be imaging. Usually an ultrasound is done, and look for the site of the obstruction. We have another ratio or a value which is known as R value or R ratio. It is a calculated parameter used in liver function test interpretation to help classify the pattern of liver injury. It compares the relative elevation of ALT, which is a marker for hepatocellular injury, to ALP, which is a marker of cholestasis, as we have discussed so far. These both are expressed as a multiples of their upper limit of normal. R value is not routinely calculated in the daily clinical practices. Most clinicians interpret liver test by directly observing which enzyme are predominantly elevated. However, it becomes particularly important in specific conditions such as suspected drug-induced liver injury, where a standardized classification into hepatocellular, cholestatic, or the mixed pattern is required. The R value, which is greater than 5, it indicates a hepatocellular pattern, and if it is less than 2, it suggests a cholestatic pattern, and the values between 2 and 5 indicates a mixed pattern showing features of both hepatocellular injury and cholestasis. We check the bilirubin value. It reflects the liver's ability to process and excrete bile pigments, so it tells you about the excretory function of liver. I think here we should have a basic idea of bilirubin metabolism in the body. So bilirubin metabolism begins with the breakdown of red blood cells producing unconjugated bilirubin, which is then transported to liver bound to albumin. In the liver, it undergoes conjugation It becomes water soluble after conjugation, which is known as a conjugated bilirubin, after which it is excreted into the bile and enters the intestine. It is converted into urobilinogen, with most being eliminated in stool as teicobilin, and a small portion reabsorbed and excreted in urine. If we differentiate between unconjugated or the conjugated bilirubin, then unconjugated bilirubin is formed from RBC breakdown. It is not water soluble, travels bound to albumin, and it is excreted in urine. On the other hand, conjugated bilirubin is formed in the liver. It is water soluble and can be excreted in bile, urine, and feces. Unconjugated, as it is fat soluble, it is more toxic. It can cross blood brain barrier, and the conjugated is less toxic because it is water soluble. It can be excreted out from the body. Conjugated bilirubin is also known as a direct bilirubin, and unconjugated bilirubin is also called as indirect bilirubin because they behave differently in the lab test. As the direct bilirubin is water soluble, it reacts immediately with the testing reagent. On the other hand, indirect, because it is not water soluble, it does not react unless an additional substance like alcohol is added to the main reagent. Total bilirubin overall levels show the severity of jaundice. Higher the values, more severe the jaundice. Increase in the conjugated bilirubin happens when the liver can process bilirubin but cannot excrete it, as in case of the liver diseases or the bile duct obstruction. On the other hand, there is increase in the unconjugated bilirubin due to increased hemolysis or poor conjugation. When both conjugated and unconjugated bilirubins are elevated, it usually indicates hepatocellular damage where multiple steps of the bilirubin metabolism are affected. 4 is evaluating the synthetic function of the liver. It includes not only albumin and the clotting factors but also total protein and serum globulin, which helps to refine liver function test interpretation. Total protein is normally 6 to 8 gram per deciliter, is a sum of albumin and the globulin, while serum globulin, which is normally 2 to 3.5 gram per deciliter, includes immunoglobulins and other proteins. The A by G ratio, that means the albumin by globulin ratio, is normally more than 1. It is around 1.2 to 1.8, but in case of chronic liver diseases, albumin synthesis decreases while globulin often increases due to immune activation, leading to reversed A by G ratio. Thus, the low albumin, high globulin, and a reversed A by G ratio suggests chronic liver dysfunction, where the normal values indicate preserved synthetic capacity. Normally, we do not measure individual clotting factors in routine liver function test. Instead, we assess them indirectly using prothrombin time or INR, International Normalized Ratio, which reflect the combined activity of multiple clotting factors produced by the liver. LFT patterns becomes much easier when applied to clinical scenarios. In a young patient with a jaundice and a markedly elevated ALT and AST, with ALT slightly higher, the pattern is hepatocellular, commonly seen in acute viral hepatitis, drug-induced injury, or ischemia. In contrast, a middle-aged patient presenting with itching and dark colored urine with elevated ALP and GGT shows a cholestatic pattern, suggesting biliary obstruction such as gallstones or malignancy. In a chronic alcohol user where AST is significantly higher than ALT with a ratio greater than 2:1, it is characteristic of alcohol-related liver diseases. Mild elevation of ALT and AST with normal bilirubin and ALP indicates mild transaminitis, often seen in fatty liver or early chronic liver disease. Finally, in a jaundiced patient, an elevated INR that does not correct with vitamin K points towards severe liver dysfunction or liver failure, which is an important red flag. So this was all about the liver function test. Hope you liked the video. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care, have a nice day.